You might be surprised to learn that some creatures can actually remove their heads, place them on their laps, and braid their hair. Prepare yourself as I share the mysterious tale of Imani. In the heart of a small town nestled among the hills of Green Valley, stood St. Margaret's Girls' Boarding School, an institution rich in tradition and history. The school was a beacon of learning and discipline, where girls were not only encouraged to excel academically but were also taught values of leadership, resilience, and integrity. The school itself was beautiful, its towering gates framed by lush gardens, ancient trees shading the pathways that crisscrossed the sprawling grounds, and whitewashed walls glowing under the Green Valley sun. Inside, there was a constant buzz of activity, girls rushing from dormitories to classrooms, from chapel to dining halls, their crisp uniforms swishing in unison, a sign of the discipline instilled in them. And yet, amid all the hustle, one thing always drew attention, regardless of the time of day: Imani's hair. Imani was unlike any other girl at St. Margaret's. Though she was quiet and preferred to keep to herself, her presence was undeniable. She had a soothing effect on those around her. Teachers admired her for her excellent behavior, classmates respected her kindness, and even the younger girls looked up to her as a model of how they should carry themselves. But it wasn't just her character that made her stand out. Her hair was the talk of the school. Imani's hair was unlike anything anyone had ever seen. It was thick, black as night, and gleamed with an almost unnatural shine. It cascaded down her back in long, silken waves, shimmering in the sunlight and even glowing in the faintest light. Every week, Imani would sport a new hairstyle, an intricately woven braid, a crown-like updo, or perfectly done twists. No one ever saw her getting her hair done, which became a source of endless fascination for the girls at St. Margaret's. The girls were used to spending hours in the care of Mrs. Jenkins, the school's resident hairstylist, who had been working there for decades. Every Friday, the girls would queue outside her small salon, waiting their turn to have their hair styled according to the week's theme. It was a ritual for some, a dreaded chore for others. Yet Imani never participated in it. She never visited Mrs. Jenkins and seemed unconcerned with the hairstyles announced each week by Simone, the social prefect. Simone, who took her job of announcing the weekly styles very seriously, would walk into the dormitory every Friday with a clipboard and read aloud the chosen style. While other girls groaned at the elaborate styles like braided buns or cornrows, Imani would smile politely, never showing concern about how she would achieve the look. One night, long after the dorm lights had dimmed, Imani sat upright in her bed. She glanced around to ensure everyone was asleep. The soft snores of her roommates filled the air. Her closest bunkmate, Layla, was snuggled deep under her blanket. Slowly, Imani slipped out of bed, tiptoed across the cold tile floor, and left the dormitory. The school's hallways were eerie at this hour, the faint rustle of trees outside the only noise breaking the silence. Imani crept quietly to the empty school bathroom. She locked the door behind her and exhaled. In the dim light, she reached up to her head, twisted her neck gently, and removed it like a puzzle piece. She set her head down on her lap and, with the skill of a master braider, began to style her hair. Her fingers moved quickly, weaving the strands into the intricate pattern Simone had announced earlier that day. It was an otherworldly sight, Imani's headless body, calm and serene, braiding her hair while her head rested peacefully on her lap. A faint, ancient lullaby echoed in the air, though her mouth never moved. By Monday morning, Imani's hair was always perfect, much to the envy of her classmates. They whispered about her, "How does she do it? Does she have a secret stylist?" But no one ever figured it out, and Imani never revealed her secret. Layla, once Imani's closest friend, had been her confidant when they first arrived at St. Margaret's. But over time, jealousy crept in. Layla had admired Imani, but as the other girls gravitated toward her, Layla began to feel invisible. Eventually, their friendship faded, and Layla became consumed by her desire to know Imani's secret. One Friday night, when Simone announced the intricate, waterfall crown braid, Layla resolved to uncover the truth. She stayed awake, determined to catch Imani in the act. Sure enough, after midnight, Layla watched as Imani slipped out of bed and quietly followed her to the bathroom. Layla peeked inside and froze in horror at what she saw, Imani's headless body, skillfully braiding her hair with inhuman precision, while her head sat peacefully in her lap. The sight sent chills down Layla's spine. When Imani's detached head suddenly opened its eyes and locked onto Layla's, she knew she had been discovered. Imani smiled calmly and said, "I suppose you found my secret." Layla, paralyzed with fear, could only watch as Imani reattached her head and stood up gracefully. "You weren't supposed to see this," Imani whispered. "But now that you have, you must understand, this is not something you can share. No one would believe you anyway." Layla, shaken to the core, stumbled back to her bed, her mind racing. From that night on, she kept Imani's dark secret, knowing no one would ever believe the impossible truth she had witnessed.